The alien princess was dying until the human gave his blood and saved her. Towering crystalline structures rose from the ground like giant diamonds, reflecting the light in 1,000 directions. Rivers of glowing liquid flowed between the cities, and the forests, filled with trees that floated above the ground, whispered softly as the wind passed through them. It was a planet of wonder, but it was also a world facing a quiet crisis. In the heart of the capital city, within a palace built entirely from the rarest crystal known to Lithurians, lay Princess Elira. Her skin, pale and almost translucent, usually glowed faintly with the life energy of her people. But now it had dimmed. Her once bright eyes, filled with curiosity and intelligence, were dull and glassy. The princess was very ill, and no one, neither the finest Lithurian doctors nor the most advanced medical machines, could save her. The illness had begun subtly. At first, it was just a faint weakness, a slight pallor that her attendants thought was fatigue. But within days, it had progressed to something far more serious. Elira struggled to breathe, her energy drained as though the life inside her were slipping away. The Lithurian council, usually calm and confident, now whispered anxiously in the corridors, fear etched on their faces. "Her condition worsens," said Elian, the royal physician, pacing the chamber. He was a tall figure with delicate features and eyes that reflected wisdom and worry. "I have tried every treatment in our knowledge, but nothing works. This illness, it does not follow the patterns of any disease we have encountered." One of the council members, a stern elder named Vorin, stepped forward. "Is it possible she is poisoned?" he asked. His voice carried authority, but there was a tremor beneath it. "We must find the cause immediately. If the princess dies, it will bring chaos to the kingdom." "No," Elian replied, shaking his head. "It is not poison. I have tested for every known toxin, every chemical. Her body is failing in a way I have never seen. If we cannot find a cure soon—" He trailed off, leaving the threat hanging in the air. Outside the palace, in the bustling city streets, Captain Elias Ward, a human explorer, adjusted the strap of his satchel as he navigated the crowded streets. He had arrived on Lithuria only a day before, sent as part of a diplomatic mission from Earth. His ship, sleek and silver, rested in the central docking station, drawing curious glances from the Lithurians. Humans were unusual to Lithuria. They were strong, adaptable, and full of strange energy that the Lithurians found difficult to understand. While the Lithurians were delicate, ethereal beings, humans were grounded, bold, and fearless. Elias had heard stories of how humans could survive extreme conditions, face dangers without hesitation, and even heal in ways that other species could not. But he had never seen Lithuria before, and its beauty left him in awe. He wandered through the city, taking in the floating forests, the rivers of glowing liquid, and the crystal towers that seemed to pierce the sky. Everywhere he looked, Lithurians moved gracefully, their translucent bodies shimmering faintly in the sunlight. It was a peaceful world, yet Elias felt a tension beneath the surface. Something was wrong, though he could not yet name it. His instincts, honed from years of exploration, guided him toward the palace. As he approached the massive crystal gates, he noticed guards moving with unusual urgency. Their eyes, normally calm and serene, flickered with worry. Elias raised his hand in greeting, but a guard stepped forward. "State your purpose," the guard said, his voice firm but not hostile. "I am Captain Elias Ward from the planet Earth," he replied. "I come as part of a diplomatic mission. I wish to speak to the council." The guard studied him for a moment, then nodded. "Follow me. The council is in session, but be warned, stranger, this is a time of crisis." Inside the palace, the council had gathered around Princess Elira's chamber. Elian was checking her vitals, while Vorin and other council members discussed possible solutions. The tension in the air was thick, as if every breath carried the weight of the princess's life. When Elias entered, all eyes turned to him. The presence of a human brought a mixture of curiosity and apprehension. Humans were known for their courage and resourcefulness, but they were also unpredictable. Still, the council allowed him to speak, hoping that fresh eyes might bring new ideas. "I have heard of your princess's condition," Elias began, bowing slightly. "I know I am not a doctor of your people, but perhaps my species can offer something unique. We humans have certain abilities that other species sometimes lack." Elian raised an eyebrow. "Such as?" Elias hesitated for a moment, then replied honestly. Our blood, it has qualities that can help regenerate and repair in ways that may be unfamiliar to your species. It is not a guaranteed cure, but it might give her body the strength to fight this illness. The council murmured among themselves. The idea seemed radical, almost impossible. A human blood transfusion into a Lithurian? No one had ever attempted such a thing, but desperation has a way of opening minds that fear keeps closed. Vorin spoke first. You speak of a human giving their blood to our princess? That is dangerous. We do not know what might happen. It could kill her faster than the disease itself. Elian, however, looked thoughtful. There are legends, old tales of humans whose life force can aid other beings. Perhaps it is time to test them. We have nothing to lose. Princess Elira, weak and barely able to lift her hand, spoke softly. Her voice was faint but clear. If it can save me, I wish to try. Elias stepped closer, his heart pounding. He had never met someone so fragile, so beautiful, yet so brave. I will do it, he said. I am ready to help no matter the risk. The council paused, studying him. His confidence, his willingness to face danger for another being, reminded them of the strength humans were known for. Slowly, they nodded. The decision was made. Preparations began immediately. Elian consulted ancient texts and Lithurian medical devices, creating a system to safely transfer human blood into a Lithurian body. The process was delicate, requiring precision and patience. Every step had to be carefully monitored, or the princess's life could be lost. As night fell over Lithuria, the palace glowed softly under the twin moons. Elias sat beside Princess Elira's bed, watching her chest rise and fall with shallow breaths. "You'll be okay," he said gently. "I will make sure of it." Elira's eyes fluttered open, and she managed a weak smile. "You humans are very strange," she whispered. "But I am glad you are here." Elias chuckled softly. "I suppose we are, but sometimes being strange is a good thing." Outside the palace, the city was quiet, the glow of the rivers and the floating forests casting gentle light across the streets. Inside, two beings from different worlds prepared to bridge the impossible gap between species. One was a human, brave and determined. The other was a princess, fragile but filled with hope. Together, they were about to begin a journey that would change not only her life, but the future of Lithuria itself. And so, as the night deepened, the first steps were taken toward a miracle, a human offering his blood, not out of duty, but out of compassion, in a galaxy where such acts were rare and precious. The morning sun rose over the crystalline towers of Lithuria, spilling golden light. Into the palace halls, Princess Elira lay in her chamber, pale but alert, her eyes tracking every movement. Outside, the city slowly woke, unaware that within the palace walls, history was quietly being written. Captain Elia's ward was already awake, seated near her bed. The human's natural ability to endure long periods without rest had proven useful, for today was the day of the transfusion. Despite the calm on his face, his mind raced with calculations, precautions, and contingencies. Every precaution had to be perfect. Any mistake could cost the princess her life. Elian, the royal physician, entered the chamber, carrying a series of strange instruments that shimmered faintly with energy. He paused at the doorway and gave Elias a serious look. "Are you certain you want to proceed?" he asked. His voice was calm, but the concern was clear. This procedure has never been attempted. It could fail, or worse, it could harm the princess further. Elias stood and met his gaze. "I understand the risks," he said, "but I also understand what's at stake." "I will do this, whatever it takes." Elian nodded slowly. "Very well, then we must prepare." The chamber quickly filled with a sense of quiet urgency. Elian and his assistants arranged the instruments, connecting shimmering tubes and devices that looked more magical than medical. The process would not be simple. Human blood and Lithurian physiology were very different. The key was to create a bridge between their life forces, to allow Elias' blood to strengthen Elira without causing rejection or damage. Elira watched silently, her strength returning slowly. "You are certain this will work?" she asked, her voice weak but steady. Elias shook his head gently. "I cannot promise that, but sometimes miracles happen when we least expect them. I will do everything I can." The princess nodded, her hand trembling slightly. "Then, I trust you." The transfusion began carefully. Elira lay back on her crystalline bed, her chest rising and falling slowly. Elias, seated beside her, allowed a small amount of his blood to flow into the specially prepared device. It shimmered and shifted, reacting strangely at first, as if the blood recognized the alien body it was entering. Elian monitored the readings with great attention. "It's stabilizing," he said cautiously. "The body is accepting the transfer so far." Minutes passed, each one feeling like an eternity. Elias remained calm, speaking softly to the princess. "You're strong," he said. "Your body knows how to fight. I'm just giving it a little help." Elira tried to smile, but it faded quickly as a wave of weakness hit her. Her breathing became uneven and her hands shook. "It hurts," she whispered. Elias took her hand gently. "I know," he said. "Hold on, you are stronger than you think." The room seemed to hold its breath as the transfusion continued. The shimmering tubes glowed brighter, and the energy from the devices hummed softly. It was a delicate dance of life forces, balancing between hope and fear. Suddenly, the device emitted a faint pulse, and Elira's body twitched slightly. Her eyes opened wider, a spark of color returning to them. The pain subsided, replaced by a warmth that spread through her limbs. It was as if the life inside her was waking from a long, dark sleep. Elian's eyes widened. "Remarkable," he whispered. "The human blood, it is working beyond expectation. Her body is repairing itself at an accelerated rate." Elias felt a surge of relief, but he did not let his guard down. "Keep monitoring her," he instructed. "Any sudden change, and we pause immediately." Hours passed, yet the princess continued to recover. Slowly, her color returned, her breathing evened, and her strength increased. The room, once filled with quiet tension, now held a soft sense of hope. Vorin, the elder council member, entered the chamber cautiously. He had been skeptical, even fearful of the procedure. But as he observed Elira's steady progress, his expression softened. I did not believe it possible," he said quietly. "You have done something extraordinary, human," Elias smiled faintly. "I only offered what I could. The princess did all the hard work. She fought for her life." Elira looked at him with gratitude shining in her eyes. "You saved me," she whispered. "I cannot thank you enough." Elias shook his head. "No thanks needed. Knowing you are alive is enough." As the day turned to night, the palace seemed almost peaceful. For the first time in many days, there was laughter in the halls, soft but genuine. The Lithurians, who had been tense and fearful, now moved with renewed energy, their hope restored by the princess's recovery. But beyond the palace walls, Elias and Elira shared a quiet moment. "Tell me about your world," she said softly. "Humans, you are so different from us." Elias chuckled. "I suppose we are, but maybe that's what makes us useful in times like these. Humans adapt, we fight, and sometimes we surprise others with what we can do." Elira smiled faintly. "I think you surprised me. I never imagined someone from another world could give life like this." Elias shrugged modestly. "Life is precious. We all fight for it in our own ways." As days passed, Elira grew stronger. She walked the halls of the palace again, her laughter echoing softly, filling the spaces that had been heavy with fear. The council marveled at the speed of her recovery, and stories of the human who saved the princess spread through the city. Humans, once seen as strangers, were now heroes in the eyes of the Lithurians. Elias, however, remained humble. He spent his days assisting Elian in monitoring her health and learning about Lithurian science and medicine. He was fascinated by their technology, their culture, and the delicate balance of their world. In return, he shared stories of Earth, of humans' history, their struggles, and their triumphs. Slowly, Elira came to see not only his strength, but also his kindness, his courage, and his wisdom. One evening, as the twin moons rose over the crystal towers, casting gentle light over the palace, Elira and Elias stood on a balcony overlooking the city. The rivers below glowed softly, and the floating forest swayed in the gentle wind. "You know," Elira said thoughtfully, "I always thought humans were reckless, bold, yes, but careless." Elias laughed softly. "I suppose some are, but I think every species has its strengths. Humans, we take risks because we care, sometimes too much." Elira smiled, a spark of amusement in her eyes. "You care even for strangers. I think that is rare in the galaxy." Elias looked at her, meeting her gaze steadily. "I care because your life mattered. Because sometimes doing the right thing is worth every risk." In that moment, a silent understanding passed between them. It was not just the bond of savior and saved, but something deeper, a connection between two beings from different worlds who had learned to trust each other, to rely on each other, and to hope together. Back in the city, the news of the princess's recovery spread like wildfire. Citizens came to the palace, offering gratitude and gifts. Scientists and scholars marveled at the success of the procedure, eager to study and understand how human blood had interacted with Lithurian physiology. The impossible had become reality, and the human who made it possible became a symbol of courage, compassion, and the surprising power of humans. For Elias, however, the reward was not recognition. It was seeing the princess smile again, hearing her laughter, and knowing that he had made a difference. In a galaxy filled with wonders and dangers, that simple truth was more valuable than any medal, any title, or any honor. And for Princess Elira, the gift of life she had received was more than survival. It was the beginning of a new understanding, an appreciation for the strength of humans, for their courage, and for the unexpected ways they could change the universe. As night deepened and the stars shone above Lithuria, two figures stood together on the palace balcony, looking out over a city that glimmered like a jewel. One was a princess, once on the brink of death, now full of life and hope. The other was a human, brave, selfless, and extraordinary, in ways that no one had fully understood until now. Together, they were more than allies. They were a living reminder that sometimes the most remarkable power in the galaxy comes from the heart, courage, and determination of a single human being. And though their journey had only begun, one truth was already clear. Life, hope, and trust could bridge worlds, heal hearts, and spark a new era for Lithuria and beyond. The palace of Lithuria was quieter than usual, the crystal walls reflecting the early morning sunlight in soft golden hues. Princess Elira sat upright in her bed, her body strong enough now to leave the chamber, but she hesitated. Something deep within her urged caution. The illness that had once drained her life had retreated, but she could not forget the pain it had caused. The memory of weakness and fear still lingered, a reminder of how close she had come to the edge of life. Captain Elia's ward moved quietly beside her, carrying a small set of instruments that gleamed with alien energy. He had spent hours studying Lithurian medical devices, learning how they worked, how they combined science and the energy of life itself. Today, they would take the next step, a final procedure that would strengthen her body fully, ensuring the illness could never return. Elian, the royal physician, entered with a solemn look. "Princess, the last stage of the procedure is delicate," he said. "It requires perfect timing and coordination. Any misstep could undo the progress we have made." Elira nodded. "I understand," she replied, "but I am ready. I cannot remain weak forever." Elias set the instruments carefully on the table. "We will do this together," he said. "I will be with you every step of the way. You are not alone." The ritual was unusual, even by Lithurian standards. It combined advanced medical technology with a form of life energy transfer that humans could barely comprehend. Tubes of glowing liquid were connected to both Elias and Elira, not for the purpose of transferring blood, but to allow the life force of the human to mingle with the Lithurian energy, creating a protective shield inside her body. Elian began the calibration, his fingers moving over panels that hummed with soft light. "The human energy is unique," he explained to the assistants. "It is flexible, strong, and capable of adjusting to other life forms. If this works, it will stabilize the princess completely." Elira took a deep breath. "Elias, are you certain this is safe?" Elias gave her a reassuring smile. "I have done everything I can to make it safe. You must trust me as I trust you." The procedure began slowly. Elira's body glowed faintly as the tubes connected, and a soft hum filled the room, a sound that was more felt than heard. Elias held her hand gently, feeling the subtle pulse of her energy. The connection between them was more than physical. It was a bridge of trust, courage, and hope. At first, there was no change. The light inside the tubes shimmered, flowing between human and Lithurian energies, but Elira's body remained still. Elias whispered softly, "Hold on. Your body is learning to accept it. It takes time." Minutes passed, then slowly, warmth began to spread through her limbs. Her heart, which had once struggled under the weight of illness, now beat steadily, strong and rhythmic. Her breathing became easier, and color returned fully to her skin. The energy inside her glowed brighter, stabilizing in a way that Elian had only hoped for. But just as hope began to settle, a sudden wave of pain swept through her body. She gasped, gripping the sheets tightly. It burns," she cried. Elias tightened his hold on her hand. "I know, it's the energy adjusting. It's normal. Just breathe. You can do this." Elian's eyes flicked over the instruments, his hands moving quickly. The energy is stabilizing, but the human life force is stronger than expected. We must guide it carefully. For a moment, the room seemed to hold its breath. The hum of the instruments grew louder, resonating with the pulse of their combined life forces. Illyra's eyes flickered with light, her body trembling under the intense flow of energy. Elias whispered words of encouragement, steadying her, keeping her focused. "You are stronger than this illness," he said. "You survived it once. You will survive it now." Gradually, the pain began to ease. Illyra's body relaxed, and the glow inside her grew steady and bright. The tubes that had connected them shimmered with a harmonious light, a sign that the energies were balanced. Elian let out a quiet sigh of relief. "It's working," he said. "The human energy is merging with the Lithurian life force perfectly. She will not only recover, but she will be stronger than before." Illyra smiled weakly. I can feel it. It's warm, like life itself is flowing through me." Elias squeezed her hand gently. "That's the power of your body and the connection we've made. Together, we made it possible." The procedure continued for several hours, each moment bringing Illyra closer to full strength. Elias remained by her side, never letting go of her hand, speaking softly, reminding her of her courage, and reinforcing the trust that had grown between them. As the final phase approached, the instruments began to emit a steady, bright light. Illyra's body shone with energy, her skin glowing with a soft, golden hue. She felt stronger than she had ever felt in her life, as if the illness had never existed. Elian nodded, a smile breaking across his face. "It is complete," he said. "The princess is fully stabilized. The human life force has bonded with her own. She will not fall ill from this disease again." Illyra looked at Elias, gratitude and awe in her eyes. You saved me again," she whispered. Elias shook his head. "I only helped, you did all the work. You fought when you were weakest, and that made all the difference." For a moment, silence filled the chamber, a calm that was almost sacred. Outside, the city of Lithuria continued its rhythm, unaware of the miracle that had taken place within the palace walls. But inside, two beings from different worlds had created a bond stronger than any illness, stronger than any obstacle. Over the next days, Illyra's strength returned fully. She walked through the palace halls, her steps sure and steady. Her laughter, once faint and fragile, rang clearly, filling the air with joy. Citizens who came to visit were amazed at her recovery, and stories of the human who had saved their princess spread quickly. Elias, however, remained humble. He spent his days assisting Elian, learning about Lithurian science, their medicine, and their culture. He found the Lithurians' way of life fascinating, their balance of logic and life energy unlike anything he had seen on Earth. In return, he shared stories of humans, their history, struggles, and triumphs, showing Illyra that courage and kindness were not limited to one species. One evening, as the twin moons of Lithuria rose in the sky, casting silver light across the crystal towers, Illyra and Elias stood on a balcony overlooking the city. The rivers below glowed softly, and the forests floated gracefully in the moonlight. "Tell me," Illyra said, "how is it that humans are so different? You risked your life for me, a stranger. Why?" Elias smiled gently. "Because sometimes life is worth the risk. Courage isn't about knowing the outcome, it's about doing what is right even when the outcome is unknown. And kindness, it's worth every challenge." Illyra looked at him thoughtfully. "You are remarkable," she said softly. "Your bravery, your heart, it has saved me more than once. I do not know how to repay you." Elias shook his head. "No repayment needed. Seeing you alive, healthy, and happy is enough." The bond between them had grown stronger than either could have imagined. It was not just the bond of savior and saved, but a connection of trust, respect, and understanding. Humans and Lithurians had bridged the gap between their worlds, showing that courage and kindness were universal. But even as they enjoyed this quiet moment, the palace remained vigilant. Not all threats in the galaxy were gone. The illness may have been defeated, but the universe was full of mysteries, dangers, and challenges that required both wisdom and courage. Elias and Illyra knew that their journey was only beginning. The next day, Elian performed final checks on the princess. "Your body is extraordinary," he said. "The human energy has strengthened your immune system beyond expectation. You will be able to face challenges that no Lithurian could have managed before." Illyra smiled. "Then I have a reason to live fully, to protect my people, and to explore the universe beyond these walls." Elias looked at her proudly. "And I will be here to support you." Humans can offer many things, but the greatest strength comes from trust and partnership. The palace, once tense with fear, now buzzed with life. Citizens celebrated the princess's recovery. Scientists marveled at the success of the procedure, and the story of the human hero spread across Lithuria. But for Elias and Elira, the true victory was personal, a bond forged through courage, compassion, and the miracle of life itself. As night fell, the twin moons bathed the palace in silver light. Elias and Elira stood together, looking at the glowing city below. One was a princess, saved from death by courage and trust. The other was a human, brave and selfless, whose unique abilities had changed the course of a world. Together, they had begun a journey that would reshape not only their lives but the destiny of Lithuria itself. And though challenges awaited them, one truth remained clear. When courage, trust, and life's strength come together, even the impossible becomes possible. The days after the ritual passed quickly, but for Princess Elira, every moment was a reminder of the second chance she had been given. She walked through the crystal halls of the palace with renewed strength, her energy no longer limited by the illness that had once drained her. Citizens came to visit, bringing gifts, flowers, and small tokens of appreciation, but Elira's thoughts often wandered to Captain Elia's ward. He had saved her life, yes, but more than that, he had shown her something new, human courage, determination, and kindness that crossed the boundaries of worlds. Elias, meanwhile, continued his work with the royal physician, Elian. While he had helped save the princess, he remained humble, learning about Lithurian medicine, technology, and history. He found the society fascinating. Their cities floated gracefully above the ground, powered by the mysterious life energy that all Lithurians shared. Their science blended logic and energy in ways humans had never seen. And yet, Elias realized, despite all their intelligence and technology, Lithurians often lacked the courage to take risks that humans took naturally. One afternoon, Elira approached him in the palace gardens. The gardens were breathtaking, a maze of floating flora, sparkling streams, and flowers that glowed softly in shifting colors. She stopped before Elias, her expression curious. "Elias," she said, "I have been thinking. You humans, you act in ways we Lithurians cannot fully understand. You risk yourselves for others, even strangers. Why?" Elias smiled, looking out at the glowing gardens. "Because sometimes doing the right thing is more important than thinking about danger. Courage isn't just about strength, it's about making a choice when the outcome is uncertain. And kindness, well, kindness is never wasted, no matter the world." Elira nodded slowly, her eyes reflecting admiration. "You have shown me that courage is not limited to warriors or leaders. It is in every act of selflessness. I want to learn this. I want to be brave, not just strong." Elias placed a hand gently on hers. "Then you already are. You survived when the odds were against you. You trusted me even when it was risky. That is bravery." Their conversation was interrupted by a messenger, a young Lithurian with glowing skin and soft wings. "Princess Elira," he said, bowing deeply, "the council requests your presence. They wish to discuss a new matter of diplomacy with our neighboring worlds." Elira exchanged a glance with Elias. "It seems my life is not only for me to enjoy," she said with a soft laugh. "There is still work to be done." The council chamber was filled with Lithurians of all ages and ranks. Their expressions were serious, a mixture of respect for the princess and curiosity about the human who had saved her. Vorin, the elder council member, spoke first. "Princess, your recovery has been remarkable. It has inspired confidence across Lithuria, yet there is more at stake. Neighboring systems are observing us. They see weakness or strength, and their decisions may impact the safety of our world." Elira nodded, standing tall despite the gravity of the situation. "Then we must show them that Lithuria is strong, that we can act with wisdom and courage." Elias watched her with quiet pride. He had seen her at her weakest, and now he saw her at her strongest. "I will support you," he said simply, "whatever challenges lie ahead." Over the next several days, Elira and Elias worked together to prepare for diplomatic visits. Leaders from neighboring worlds arrived, curious about the princess who had survived an illness no one else could cure, and the human who had made it possible. Some were skeptical, wary of humans' unpredictable nature. Others were impressed, fascinated by the bravery and selflessness Elias had shown. Slowly, alliances began to form. Conversations shifted from caution to respect. and Elira found herself at the center of new friendships and new possibilities for her world. One evening, after a long day of meetings and formalities, Elira and Elias walked through the palace gardens again. The twin moons had risen, casting soft silver light across the floating plants and sparkling streams. "Do you ever wonder," Elira asked, "if humans and Lithurians could work together more closely, not just for emergencies, but for the future?" Elias considered her question carefully. "I do. Humans are not perfect. We make mistakes, but we adapt, learn, and act with courage. I think together we could do great things, not because one species is stronger, but because we bring out the best in each other." Elira smiled, feeling a warmth in her chest. "Then perhaps this is only the beginning, not just for me, but for Lithuria and your world." Their bond grew stronger with each passing day. They trained together not just in diplomacy, but in understanding each other's abilities. Elias taught Elira about human endurance, strategy, and courage, while she showed him the delicate balance of Lithurian energy and technology. They learned from each other, growing as partners and friends. One afternoon, an unusual message arrived. Elian looked concerned as he read it, his glowing eyes narrowing. "Princess, Captain Elias, there is news from the outer systems. Strange disturbances have been detected near Lithuria. Unknown ships moving without warning. They are unmarked and do not respond to communication." Elira's expression hardened. "Could it be a threat?" Elian shook his head. "We cannot be certain, but we must prepare for every possibility. The princess's recovery has strengthened us, yes, but the universe does not wait for anyone to be ready." Elias placed a hand on her shoulder. "We will face it together. You are stronger now, and we have allies. No matter what comes, we will meet it with courage." In the following days, the palace was filled with activity. Guards trained more rigorously, diplomats strengthened their alliances, and Elian studied the strange readings from the outer systems. Elira took an active role, showing her people that she was not only alive but ready to lead. Her courage inspired them, and her determination gave hope to those who had feared her illness would leave Lithuria vulnerable. Elias and Elira spent long hours discussing strategy, exploring every possible scenario. Though the threat was uncertain, their partnership created a sense of calm. They were two beings from different worlds, united by trust, courage, and a shared purpose. One evening, while reviewing maps and readings, Elira looked at Elias. "Do you think humans are always brave like you? Or is this special?" Elias chuckled softly. "Some of us are, some of us take risks for others because it's the right thing to do. I think it's not about being special, it's about choosing to act when it matters." Elira nodded thoughtfully. "Then I want to learn that. I want to act when it matters for my people, for my world." Elias smiled. "And you will, you already have. Courage is not about being fearless. It's about doing what is right, even when fear is there." The next morning, the disturbances in the outer systems became more serious. Scouts reported unidentified ships approaching Lithurian space, moving at unusual speeds and patterns. The council convened immediately. "We cannot ignore this," Vorin said. "If these ships are hostile, Lithuria could be in danger." Elira stood tall. "Then we will face them with preparation and courage. We will show them that Lithuria is not weak, and we will do so with allies who share our values, humans, and anyone willing to act with honor." Elias watched her with quiet admiration. "You are ready," he said. "Your strength and courage will guide your people, and I will be here every step of the way." Preparations began in earnest. Ships were readied, defenses strengthened, and scouts sent to monitor the approaching vessels. The people of Lithuria, once fearful of the unknown, now felt a sense of confidence and hope. The princess they had feared losing had returned stronger, and with a human by her side, they were ready to face whatever came next. As night fell, Elira and Elias stood once more on the balcony, looking out at the stars. "Do you think we are ready?" she asked. Elias took her hand. "We may not know what comes, but together we can face anything. Courage, trust, and strength, those are universal, and we have them in abundance." Elira smiled, feeling a deep sense of connection, not just to Elias, but to the universe itself. "Then we will face it together. Lithuria, humans, and anyone who stands with us. Nothing will break the bonds we have formed." And so, as the twin moons of Lithuria bathed the palace in soft silver light, two figures stood side by side, united in purpose, courage, and hope. The human who had saved a princess, and the princess who had learned to trust in something greater than herself, were ready for the challenges to come. Together, they would prove that bonds beyond worlds could overcome even the greatest of threats. The twin suns of Lithuria rose slowly over the crystalline towers, casting golden light across the palace and the surrounding city. The day had arrived, the day the approaching ships would reach Lithurian space. The people were tense, their excitement mixed with fear. For weeks, scouts had monitored the unmarked vessels, but their intentions remained unknown. Illyra stood on the balcony of the palace, her gaze fixed on the horizon where the first signs of the ships appeared as small, glowing dots against the sky. Beside her, Captain Elias Ward adjusted the instruments on his suit, checking communications and energy readings. His calm presence brought reassurance to the princess, who had grown confident and strong since her recovery. They had trained, planned, and prepared, but the uncertainty of the approaching threat weighed on everyone. "They're coming faster than we expected," Elias said quietly. "We need to act quickly," Illyra nodded. "Then we face them not with fear but with courage. Our people are ready, and we are not alone." The council assembled in the palace's central command room. Lithurian ships hovered above the city, powered by life energy cores that glowed brightly. Leaders from allied systems joined the princess, their faces tense but determined. Elian stood at the center, monitoring the energy fields that protected the city. "The ships are moving in a formation we have never seen before," Elian reported. "They are fast, precise, and show no sign of responding to communication attempts. We cannot know their intentions, but we can prepare to defend ourselves." Illyra straightened, her voice steady and commanding. "Then we will defend Lithuria, not just with force, but with strategy, courage, and trust in each other. Humans, Lithurians, and our allies, we face this together." Elias looked at her, admiration shining in his eyes. "You are ready, princess. Your people will follow your lead, and I will be at your side." The first of the unmarked ships reached Lithurian space. They were large, sleek, and silent, with no markings or insignia to identify them. The Lithurian defense ships formed a protective circle around the city, their energy shields glowing in response to the unknown vessels. Elian's fingers danced over the controls, adjusting energy flows and coordinating defenses. "They are testing us," he said. "We must remain calm and act precisely." Illyra and Elias stood on the command deck overseeing the operation. "We don't know if they intend to attack," Illyra said, her voice measured. "We must be ready for anything." Elias nodded. "Then we stay vigilant, act with courage, and remember what we have learned. Together, we are stronger than any threat." The ships began to maneuver, approaching the city in a pattern that seemed deliberate. Lithurian sensors detected sudden energy pulses, testing the city's shields and communication networks. The council exchanged worried glances, but Illyra remained calm, projecting confidence and determination. "Elian, focus our energy shields on the outer perimeter," she instructed. "Humans and allies, take positions where you can support both defense and communication. We must show them strength, not fear." The unknown ships halted suddenly, hovering at a distance. A tense silence filled the command room as both sides studied each other. Then, without warning, a transmission appeared on the Lithurian screens. "Lithurians of Lithuria," a cold, mechanical voice announced. "You are entering territory controlled by the consortium. Leave immediately or face destruction." The council murmured anxiously. Vorin clenched his fists. "The consortium, they are known for aggression and conquest. If they attack, Lithuria could be destroyed." Illyra turned to Elias. "We will not flee. We will show them courage and unity. If they seek to destroy us, they will face the combined strength of Lithurians, humans, and our allies." Elias nodded. "Then let's make sure they regret threatening Lithuria." The battle began. The unknown ships fired energy blasts, testing the Lithurian shields. The human and Lithurian pilots coordinated seamlessly, guided by Illyra's commands and Elias' strategic input. Humans brought improvisation and quick thinking, while Lithurians used precision and their life energy technology. Together, they formed an unstoppable combination. Elian monitored the shields, adjusting flows to prevent overload. "The human energy in their ally systems, it enhances our defenses," he shouted. "It's stabilizing the shields in ways I never thought possible." Illyra felt a surge of pride as she watched her people and allies respond with courage and skill. Her recovery, her bond with Elias, and the strength she had gained were more than physical. They were the foundation of a new era for Lithuria. The consortium ships pressed forward, but each attack was met with precision and resilience. Human improvisation countered unexpected maneuvers, while Lithurian shields absorbed energy and redirected it. Slowly, the attackers' confidence wavered. They had underestimated the strength of a united front. In the command room, Elira issued clear instructions. Focus on containment, not destruction. Show them our power without unnecessary aggression. Let them see what courage and unity can do. Elias watched her in admiration. You are not just leading, they are learning from you. Courage is contagious, princess. Hours passed, and the unknown ships began to retreat, recognizing that their threats would not succeed. Lithurian and human forces held their ground, demonstrating discipline, strength, and bravery. The city of Lithuria remained safe, its people inspired by the courage and unity of their leaders. When the last of the unmarked ships disappeared into the distance, a cheer erupted across the city. Citizens poured into the streets, celebrating the victory and the bravery that had saved their home. Elira and Elias stood together on the balcony, watching the city glow in the evening light. You did it, Elias said quietly. Not just surviving, but leading your people through danger. Elira smiled, a mixture of relief and pride in her eyes. We did it, together. Humans, Lithurians, and allies. Courage and trust made the difference. Elian joined them, his face lighting up. This is remarkable. Lithuria has not only survived, but proven that unity across worlds can defeat even the most unexpected threats. And the human, Captain Ward, your contributions were invaluable. Elias shrugged modestly. I only offered what I could. The princess's strength and the people's courage made it possible. The council gathered shortly after to formalize new alliances with the human and allied representatives. Lithuria would no longer face the galaxy alone. Humans, with their courage and adaptability, were now recognized as vital partners, not just in survival, but in building a stronger, safer future. Elira addressed her people, her voice steady and commanding. Lithuria has faced danger and emerged stronger. We have learned that courage, trust, and unity can overcome any challenge. We are no longer alone. We have allies, and we will continue to grow, learn, and protect our world together. The citizens cheered, inspired by her words. The story of the human who had saved the princess and helped lead Lithuria through danger spread quickly, becoming legend. Elias, ever humble, stood quietly beside Elira, content knowing he had made a difference. In the days that followed, Lithuria entered a new era of cooperation and exploration. Humans and Lithurians worked side by side, sharing knowledge, technology, and culture. Princess Elira and Captain Elias Ward continued to grow as partners and friends, their bond stronger than ever. Together, they inspired courage across the galaxy, proving that bravery, trust, and kindness could unite worlds. One evening, as the twin moons rose above the crystal towers, Elira and Elias stood on the balcony once more. The city below shimmered with light, a symbol of resilience and hope. Do you think we have truly changed the galaxy? Elira asked softly. Elias smiled. We have changed something far more important. We have shown that courage and trust can overcome fear. That humans and Lithurians, different as we are, can work together for a better future. The galaxy will notice, I am sure, but the true victory is what we have built here in our hearts and in our world. Elira nodded, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. Then this is only the beginning. Lithuria will grow stronger, wiser, and braver. And we will face the future together, no matter what challenges come. Elias placed a hand on hers, a simple gesture full of meaning. Together, he agreed. As the night deepened, the stars above Lithuria sparkled like countless promises of hope. The city, the people, and the bond between human and Lithurian stood as a beacon across the galaxy. Life had been saved, courage had been proven, and a new era had begun. One in which differences were strengths, trust was power, and humans had once again shown that their courage could change the course of worlds. And so, with hearts united and spirits strong, Lithuria looked forward to a future filled with promise, adventure, and the enduring power of friendship and bravery. The human who had given his blood, the princess who had regained her life, and the people who had embraced courage together had not only survived, they had created a legacy that would be remembered for generations.